For those that may feel like they are being harassed, do not hold it in. Talk to somebody. Tell somebody immediately. Now, we do have some women that, it was a girl that I knew up in New York. And every time a guy came around, she was calling sexual harassment. Oh, this one tried to do this to me. That one tried to do that to me. We have those type of females as well. Okay? But you never know who's telling the truth and who's not. So that's why we take every story serious. These are things we don't play around with, especially with children. Y'all know I come from a background of being sexual assaulted. So I take it very, very serious. Being sexually abused and sexually assaulted is not a good thing. It puts trauma on you. Okay? And we don't want this next generation coming up with trauma because they're just trying to make a living and trying to figure out the new world that we have right now after we all have been locked down for 3 years. These new kids coming out have to make a living. And they have to come out into the world. These are kids that went straight from going to either a middle school, high school, straight into the work world. It's something that you have to look at. We have to deal with them a little bit differently. I'm not saying that you have to change your whole character to deal with them. However, certain things you just don't say or do. I had a young girl tell me the other day, a guy called her a bad bee. And she was like, I'm not a bad bee. And I can imagine, she doesn't seem to be the type of girl. And see, this is the thing, especially here in Charlotte. Charlotte is very, very diverse. Okay? When I say very diverse, I mean very diverse. We have a little bit of everyone here. People from everywhere. We have, I don't even want to talk about the blacks and Hispanics because they dominate. I'm going to say we dominate. Okay? But you got people, Chinese people here. I'm going to say Asian because we have a little bit of everybody. We have people from Egypt. People from Brazil. Okay, I've met people a little bit from everywhere. People from Africa. Okay, some parts of Africa that I've never even heard of. Okay, even though we know that there's Africans here, they've been here for a good while. However, there's some more from places, like I said, I've never even heard of. Some of these cultures are raised differently than the way we were raised here in America. Even if the person that you're dealing with or the people that you meet were born here, you got to remember that they are being raised by their native home, which is where their family is from. So their cultures are different. We have to respect that. Not everyone that's 18 to 20 is sexually active because they don't have that in certain countries. They don't even have it here. These younger girls today are starting to get to the point where they're not sexually active because they see the problems that the Americans go through dealing in relationships. So they don't want to be. So they take it a little bit more serious than the past generations. You don't want these young girls and young fellas raising a big to-do about it, because if they do, all of the workplaces is going to have to come down very hard and make examples out of people because they're not following sexual harassment workplace rules. But to get away from that, just stay out of people's space. It's okay to ask them too. Hey, can I sit with you at lunch? Or can I walk with you? Or can you help me? It's like yesterday, I was at the Sam's Club, gassing up my car for work. And an Asian lady, she looked at me and she said, help. And I laughed. I said, well, what's wrong? She said, I need help. She couldn't figure it out, And I said, give me 1 second. Let me finish up here and I'll be right over to help you. So I go over, but she invited me into her space. Okay? So she had nothing to fear because she felt she needed help. And she saw me. She said, okay, well, she looks pretty decent. All right, can you help me, please? And I went on over to help her. She invited me into her space. I didn't go over there and just say, hey, you want me to help you? And jumped in her space. That's not how it's done. You wait for a person to invite you. Even if I was in the area and I saw her having problems, outside of her space, I would have said, do you need my help? And then if she would reply, yes, can you please help me? Then I would step into her space. That's how you avoid conflict. That's how you avoid other people feeling scared, feeling like you're trying to do something to them when you're really not. Just stay out of people's space. It's simple. Don't make things harder than what it is, because it can become a serious crime. Like in my job, I'm going to use my job for instance. I'm in a packing station and it's like a bunch of people. Okay, and we're all next to each other. Granted, we are in our own space, but when we're going to get our packages to pack them, we have to cross the line and keep walking past them, which causes conflict. If there's two people that just don't get along and they got to keep crossing each other's path and saying excuse me to each other, it causes conflicts. We got to wait patiently. When there's someone getting their packages to pack, we got to stand back. Well, I do. Not everybody does it. Some of them just run up on it and push and do whatever they got to do to get their packages because we have numbers to so-called get. However, we still have to respect the law and respect people's space. And that's something my job doesn't look at. That's why I say numbers shouldn't be a factor, especially when you have other things around you that can stop you from doing your job. So like with myself, what I do, if I see somebody go, my light lights up right next to their light, I will stand back out of their space and let them get their packages. And then once they move, I'll run in and get mine. That's the way it's done. But depending on how long that person takes, it could cost me 2 packages. I could have packed 2 packages by that point. But due to knowing the law and knowing respecting people in their space, I have to follow it. The same with the guys touching the little girls, the girls that's working. You have to stay out their space. Now, sometimes we be so close to each other. Touching is, you can't help it. So that's why I say some of it may not even be where it's done intentional, but then it could be intentional. And if it is intentional, it needs to stop because it's a crime. And it can lead you with a sexual harassment case. And depending on how far the sexual harassment goes, it could lead you in jail, depending on how much of touchy-touchy you're doing. This is how rape cases get started. When people are being sexually harassed, never been raped, but they will cry rape because they don't know the difference of this being fondled upon and being sexual gestures being thrown at them. So they just say, this person raped me, knowing that wasn't the case. But they still have to go through the whole process, even if nothing was found. They look at sometimes as it being allegations. Well, it's your word against theirs, especially if there was no witnesses. But if it's happening to you, tell someone. If it happened and you don't tell someone, it can happen again. And you want someone to know. And the reason why you want someone to know, just in case it gets really ugly, meaning they do try to rape you, or they are fondling you so bad where you had to fight for your life. So make sure you're telling someone so it can be recorded. It can be put in somebody's database on record. That, yeah, this person did tell me, they did make an allegation saying that this person did X, Y, and Z. A month ago, on this date. Don't be afraid to tell someone if someone is sexually harassing you. That's your right if you do not want to be touched. It's the law. You don't have to be touched. This is why when we go to the doctors, we sign paperwork saying that it's okay for the doctors to touch us. Because it's a right. A doctor cannot even touch us without us signing off on it. Everybody that we come in contact with, we're not going to ask them to sign documentation. But in reality, you can. We try to do things where it makes sense. I'm giving you the okay to stand next to me. I'm giving you the okay to bump shoulders with me. Just like when you go to the club and the person asks you, can I dance with you? And if you say no and they keep trying to dance with you, they are violating your space. But if you say yes, it's okay for them to enter your space and dance with you. What people have to understand When a person says no, it means no. When a person doesn't like something, you don't repeat the same act. Once they told you, I don't like that, don't do that to me. You do not repeat the same act. Once you have learned that this person does not like that, you have to stop. And that's the law as well. Because they can physically say, hey, did they ask you to stop? And you say yes. You know, okay, well, they asked you to stop. And you still went on ahead and did it. Respect these ladies, especially these younger ones coming up, because they're a little bit bigger. They bigger. These ladies got all of this body these days. I don't know where it comes from. It's in the food. And I get it, fellas. That y'all looking and y'all like, ooh, wow, she looks good. Body, ooh. I get it. But what you think don't mean you have to react on. Try to get to know the person. If you think they look good and want to date them. Say, hey, I like you. Do you have a boyfriend? Or can I have lunch with you? Get to know them. And then one day you can fondle them without them feeling funny. Because they'll give you the okay. Patience. You don't make people feel uncomfortable. You don't push yourself on people. It's just not right. So think before you react. Because it can turn into a big ordeal. I want y'all, for those that may have, we don't have cable. For the United States, NBC, you can watch Law and Order, Sexual, what is it called? Oh, Jesus, I watch it all the time, and I don't know what the sexual, it's about rape victims. And you can see the stories of where some girls lied and some girls tell the truth. Some guys, most of the stories about guys sexual harassing or raping women. Excuse me. But there's been shows where men has been raped as well. Sexual intent. I'm sorry. Law and Order. For those that are outside of America, I don't know if Tubi is outside of America. But it's a streaming platform that I know that can be gotten on our iPhones and Androids. I would assume, because Law and Order is so big, you should be able to watch it out of the country as well. But it's something that y'all can look at so y'all can see the different stories. This is why Law and Order made a whole series that's been lasting for 22 years. Because it's such a big topic. And it's not just here in America, it's everywhere. It's not just black, white, it's everybody. Chinese, Japanese, Egyptian, it don't matter. Sex is a natural act. Everything has sex that's living. Dogs, cats, birds. But we're not dogs, cats, and birds and monkeys where we just jump all over each other and fill up on each other. We're human beings. We're the top of the line. So we have learned discipline. You can't just touch people and jump all over them because you're feeling a sexual urge. You have to learn to discipline yourself. That's why they made it a crime. We're not animals. And you're not going to treat people as such. Because it's a crime. Ladies, most of the time, you are the ones that's being attacked. This is why I tell you, go and get some type of defense class to help yourself fight off people like that. You never know when you're going to need it. Invest in you knowing how to protect yourself. Yeah, you can holler, but how about if the man grab your mouth? Then you can't holler no more. Then you have some strong women out here. If a man tried it, they gonna do what y'all know what? F him up. There's a lot of us out here like that. Don't touch me. And I'm not gonna tell you again. But then you have some women that's very timid, and it's not their fault that not everybody has that strong, man, I'm going to hit you back. I know you're a man and I'm a woman, and you can possibly beat me, but I'm going to get my lick in. Not everybody has that in them. And some people prey on the weak. This one is not going to say anything because of this. Or this one is not going to do anything because they know that I'm stronger, I'm bigger. Or whatever the circumstances may be. In a situation that you're around. But don't take it for granted because some women will fight back. And today, women are going to the gun range and learning how to shoot and buying guns to protect themselves from robberies and sexual harassment and rape. Because it doesn't give a person the right to just take from them or fondle them without their permission. It's a serious crime. And y'all have to take it seriously. Everything you think you don't have to act on. You can have in your head right now that you want to bust somebody upside the head. That don't mean you have to act on it. And if you keep thinking it, pray about it. Say, God, why I keep feeling like this? Take this feeling away from me because I really want to bust somebody upside the head. That's why we need a higher power. I know y'all get tired of me talking about God, but I have no other choice but to tell y'all the truth. We need a higher power to keep our discipline. God, I know you're watching, but I really want to punch this person. Calm my soul. We need that higher power. This next generation, we do not want them traumatized. Which means, okay, and I'm not only talking about sexually, the things that we do around them, the things that they see and got to grow up in. That's what's wrong with majority of the people. They're traumatized. Me included. This is how I know it's affecting my people. Because I'm going down the same road that they went down. Being traumatized. And can't deal with certain things because they are traumatized. The next generation is going to think. And so shout out to this generation right here that's coming up, these teens right now. You know, I ask a lot of them, you know, do they want kids? And they be like, no. Nope, don't want no kids. Shout out to them. And it's not that they're being selfish. They know the trauma that they went through. And they don't want to put their children through that. And technically, you don't have to. You just have to live a stable, disciplined life. Yeah, I know it's hard. Like I was talking to a lady today. I was shopping. And she was saying how she was buying clothes to go to the club. She's like, yeah, I'm retired. And I'm about to hit the club. And I said, you know what? I said, I kind of wish I could say that. But then again, I don't. I said, don't you know I partied so hard when I was young? I was in the clubs at 16. From age 16 to age 33. Hard body. 16 all the way to 33. I don't even want to see another club unless I'm walking through the door to make money. I told her, I said, yes. I retired recently too. I said, but you know, my pension wasn't enough to really live off of. So I have to work. I said, but I can't see myself going up in no club. And she just looked at me. Even if I didn't have a 13-year-old, I couldn't see myself going up in no club. Because I've been there, done that. I'm done. I had my fun. I didn't have to wait until my kids got grown and got old, and because I did it when I was young. Now I'm on a different wave. I'm on a different... If anything, I want to travel. I want to do things that I couldn't do when I had the kids. Because I traveled too, but I took my kids with me. I pretty much want to rest. I really want to rest and find some hobbies. That's the state of mind frame I'm in now. I really want to put my feet up. I want to sit in the rocking chair on my front porch and rock and look around and see what's going on. Because I did everything. It's time for me to sit down and chill. I want to paint, create. Oh, I got a whole bunch of stuff lined up that I can do. so I could be able to rest my mind. I was at work one day. That's when I was doing my CNA work. And I told my client, I said, all right, I'm leaving. I can't wait to get home so I don't have to think. And she was like, you're supposed to think. You should always want to think. No, I don't want to think. I'm tired of thinking. That's where I'm at. Sometimes I just want to sit and just stare at nothing. So I don't have to think. Because I've been thinking all my life. I've been doing so much all my life. I don't regret none of it. Except for I can't even regret the way I grew up. Because if I didn't grow up like that, I wouldn't have worked as hard as I did. And I wouldn't be the person that I am today, here to help and teach the new generation how to live. And how to be disciplined. And how to live life to the best of your ability. No one is perfect. But all we can do is try. And when you have children out, they'll all walk together or fly together. And the next thing you know, you'll see her by herself. Because they're gone. The same with us. We just keep the kids in the nest 18 to 24 years. Where she only has them in the nest for about maybe 2-3 months, if that. Her job is done. Our job is a little bit longer. When you have children, you're responsible for another human being. And once you make that decision to be responsible for another human being, you're responsible for teaching them. You're responsible for making sure they go to the doctor. You're responsible to make sure that they're safe. You're responsible to make sure that they have a meal. They have everything that's needed. You're responsible for them. And if you can't do your job properly by teaching them, then the government has the right to take them away and put them in a home where someone can give them that stability and that discipline. Some people look at it as being jailed, like foster care and group homes and stuff like that. They look at that as being jailed, but it's a disciplined setting. It's the way they supposed to have been living from Jump Street. And then they have to be taught the knowledge of life. Certain things they have to be given. Like, I was telling some of the girls here in Charlotte how, they take their kids out to eat every day. Every day. They at the McDonald's or the wherever. I told them, I said, Child Protective Services came in your house and you don't have no food in your cabinets. Inside your home, that is considered neglect. And he looked at me like I was crazy. I said, you got to have canned goods in your house. If nothing else, you're supposed to have a few things in the fridge and some canned goods in your cabinet. On behalf of that child. And they just looked at me. But you see what knowledge can do? If you don't know the knowledge, that's how they get you. When you don't have the knowledge. So now we're going to give you the knowledge so that way you can't say you didn't know. We told you. So we're working hard to give all the information that we have to the newer generations so they will know what they should and should not do. Just because you seen your dad fondling your mama when you shouldn't have been seeing that don't mean you can go out and fondle other people. It don't work that way. This is why we have to watch what we do. I know that saying, they have that saying, what goes on in our house stays in our house. Most of the time, everything that goes on in y'all houses is outside anyway. Because what y'all teach y'all children wind up outdoors anyway. And the way the child acts and the things that the child does shows, not all the time, not 100% all the time, because the child can have a disability, or some trauma. A person is going to know their character and the character of the family. So this is why we got to watch what we do in front of our children. We got to watch how we do things, and we have to watch how we talk to them and try to enlighten them as much as we possibly can before they get themselves in trouble. Within the last, I would not even say 6 months, it's been less than that, I've been told about 4 sexual harassment issues. This is why I felt the need, it needs to be spoke upon. So y'all remember, you can't touch people if they don't want to be touched. You can't be in people's space. There was no reason for the government to have to tell us that we're supposed to be 6 feet away from each other when we're supposed to be anyway. But because it wasn't enforced, nobody knows. Now it's something new. This is all new. But that's the reality of it. And that's the truth. All y'all have a wonderful weekend. Be safe out there. No drinking and driving. I'm hearing more and more people having accidents. And they not hitting themselves. Hitting other people in their cars. They tearing up their own cars. So y'all stop drinking and going out. Get your bottle. Go home. And do your thing. Where you safe. If you're going to go somewhere and drink, stay there. If you can't stay there, then you don't need to go there and drink. If it's not a place where you can go and plop your butt on the couch or in a chair or wherever until that liquor is up off you, and you don't need to be drinking. You drink in the comfort of your home, comfort of your friends, family, where you can stay put and safe. That's the key. Being safe. People always say, oh, no, I'm good. Until that one bad thing happened. Well, I was good, but nothing. You shouldn't have never done it. And that's just the reality of things. Don't make life harder for yourself. Just follow the rules. Life is good when you follow the rules. Outside of my everyday, my bills, certain stuff I just can't escape, life is good. I try to follow the rules. Sometimes I break them every now and again. But for the most part, I follow them and life be good. Same with y'all. If y'all follow the rules, discipline yourselves, life would be good. That's just the bottom line. This is Jacqueline Richardson, Ms. JJ Diamond, Deja, Jackie. Whatever y'all call me, I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a wonderful weekend.